kindly call up Mr. Vijay Ratnam Kumarji, Assistant Professor, Department of Visual Communication. I take immense pleasure in introducing November 2016. I will go through the now I'd like to call upon the first participant, Mr. Vijay Ratnam Kumarji, Assistant Professor, Department of Visual Communication, Loyola College. He's taken up the topic on challenge in online education, awareness of sexual harassment in colleges. We welcome you to the guys.
Actually, good morning, all of you. I'm going to present on behalf of Vijay Ratnam Kumar sir. Actually, we done a research in 2019 where the pandemic started in India and elsewhere. So we have detailedly conducted the question-based survey, and we found something very interesting. It's something related to sexual awareness and challenges in online education. So introduction, sexual harassment for the children start at various levels at home and travel and education, even career advancement center. And we notice even this online blended and flipped learning, it makes more stress for the students, especially those who are come from female category. So they are oftenly affected in various sexual harassments by various instructors and teachers and trainers and all things. So our objective is to study the proposed to understand the awareness among the college, university students sexual harassment during the online classes. It attempts to know the prevalence of sexual harassment in online classes, college and university students. It analyzes the mechanism to redress such grievances available to students in college and university and awareness of respondents. Importance of the study. There are various studies on the cyber sexual harassment on women and children or to students, scholars in various sections of the society. So during this pandemic, there are various educational institutions highlighted by social media with the issue of cyber harassment for students during this and after this online classes. Especially the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu has taken the initiative and order for drafting guidelines for this conduct of online classes, continuing with the record of the review of policy of classes are also being initiated. Hence, it is essential that study has to be done to bring out the impact awareness of studies and issues. So it would be the highlight of the policy makers as well. So it is more significant, which is also relevant for the present situation because all the educations are moved to the online mode. The scope for the further study, the study in cyber harassment can be extended further and focus on the urban and rural college and university because in our studies only the limitation with this urban city, so especially in this Chennai hub, and but it can also be conducted the multi-dimensional aspect of various districts of Tamil Nadu because of this southern states and other underdeveloped states are not get that much exposure related to sexual harassment and online education. Based on this, we found this, we framed certain research questions, which sections of students are sexually harassed during these online classes, whether it's gender-based or age or urban and rural and all the things. Or the students are aware of the sexual harassment during these online classes without knowing or unknowing. Are they aware of the various mechanisms that exist to redress these grievances? Because of this, many colleges and universities are given the guidelines to set up a grievance cells for taking all the issues, matter of concerns related to sexual harassment and on various issues. So these the major research question which framed during this research. So based on this, we can extend and elaborate various questions through this questionnaires. So questionnaires mainly 36 to 40 questions. From this questionnaire, we are directly, we send these questions through this Google form in various colleges that are situated in Chennai cities. And from the students' responses, we can gather and tabulate it and interpret the data based on this various statistical methods. And based on this, we need to understand the significance effect of this various factors which is influencing this particular area. Say for example, from that we can frame this null hypothesis, that is H naught. Awareness on sexual harassment is not significantly related to gender and age and institution and course attending. That's what we frame as H naught is an alternate null hypothesis. And based on this, we can frame such other alternate hypotheses. In H1, awareness on sexual harassment is significantly related to gender and age and institution and course attending. And female students are likely to be more sexually harassed than the boys during this online class in colleges and school. Students are aware of the sexual harassment during the online classes. It's more prevalent in co-ed colleges and universities. Students are generally aware of the grievance mechanism in their colleges. So in that way, we can frame this null and alternate hypothesis. And limitation of the study is limited to Chennai and Tamil Nadu only, as Tamil Nadu is the educational center in the country, which has numerous arts and science and engineering, business administration, medical and many more colleges. Hence the population of Tamil Nadu has been included in this study. So sampling design is based on this stratified random sampling method we have used. The study is being conducted June 2021 through this questionnaire, online questionnaire survey. The study is being conducted at the city colleges Chennai. It's focused especially the central Chennai, which is home to many important government aided and private colleges. So based on this result, we can say for example, the first questions based on this age of the respondents. So in this survey, respondents' awareness of sexual harassment is very important. So it is very important to know this their age of this respondents. So from the table, it highlights the 31.8% of male respondents is against 65.2% female respondents. Majority of the respondents are female. It is important to note that here the 3% of the respondents do not wish to reveal their gender because of this. All the questionnaires through this online, so it is not they feel it's not necessary to reveal their gender. It is highly significant impact because we are sent many questionnaires in various stakeholders and colleges and various level, but we could expect more than 500 samples. But at the end, we are only collected 220 plus because of most of the students is not willing to respond in various questions in this particular aspect. So next is the age of the respondents. As we know that the majority of the age between this 18 to 21 is above the 25 years. So main target is undergraduate students in this respondents. So nature of the institutions, institutions are in private colleges occupying more than 54.5%, and next to aided college, and remaining government and coaching centers. And course attending bachelors, actually it is a mixed reaction during this survey collection because most of the female respondents are willing to respond to this particular questionnaire. So because of that only, the postgraduate, that is 43.9% of students, obviously the postgraduates comes under co-ed education, isn't it? So the female participation is slightly high in this particular survey. Available resources, that is very important for this various, this is what our core and major objectives of this particular study. So available resources, especially this educational institution must provide this mechanism to easy to reach and comply to authorities with regard to sexual harassment in person or through online telephone conversations. It is not only enough to have facility, but the students in every institution should have aware of this existence of complaint system. So the table shows that the positive note, actually the 30.3% of the total respondents are extremely aware of this existing of the complaint mechanism which is available in this within the campus and this college and other locality. It highlights that 28.8% of the total respondents are very aware of the system, and 25.8% are moderately aware, and 15.2% are slowly are slightly aware of this particular mechanism. So existing complaint, say for example, it is mandatory to all the educational institutions should have the anti-sexual harassment cell and internal complaints committee. In most of the cases, cell exists the name only, but it is not practically they are implemented. So in that case, we found various institutions are take the step in order to take that sexual harassment is a very serious matter. So in that case, we conclude that the overall in Chennai city or other private colleges, they are maintaining the better sexual harassment complaint cell with properly in order to solve the students' problem, especially in this sexual-based complaints. So this is what we are conclude in this particular study. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Our next presenter is Sanjana Muralidharan. She is an assistant professor. My apologies. Our next presenter is Eugene DG. He is a research scholar and assistant professor of the Department of Visual Communication in the WCC College. And the title of his study is A Study on the Influence of OTT Platforms on Theatre-Going Audience Post-COVID Era. Just a reminder, the participants are tethered to the timing of the buzzer. The buzzer will be played in the fold. So the minute the second buzzer ends, we'll have to stop the timing and no other times will be extended. Thank you.
Check. There's a good presentation and no, methodologically I just wanted to ask you a question. You said somewhere that you're using stratified random sampling. But stratified random sampling, is it in terms of age or gender? What is the stratification that you use?
Then we narrowed down.
Narrowed, I mean within Chennai.
Yes. So now we have finally arrived at up of the Chennai, which in center of Chennai. So that's where we are started.
This is the strata. Like, for example, you said 43 females or something like that?
Yeah, it's percentage.
No. Frequency you said in numbers, in terms of numbers, out of the 66, 2 you said did not wish to respond. And most of them are females. And 20 plus is something like males. Is there a stratification in there?
This is not based on the stratified sampling. Stratified sampling is based on this number of samples which we have selected at the end, based on the population. So we plan to conduct entire Chennai city. Say for example, Chennai city is more than 50 plus aided colleges.
The selection of colleges is based on stratified.
Not for the gender.
So what is the strata? Like, the strata is based on what are the different institutions you select?
Yes. We are mainly focused on this aided colleges and private colleges, not for this university.
Fine. So you have some strata, but how did you select? Go about selecting the strata. Like, is it based on 10% of?
Yes, it's 20%. It's statistical significance.
No. There are two ways of doing it. One is proportionate, and the other one is disproportionate. Stratified sampling itself. So did you go for proportionate or disproportionate? Okay. So is that the reason why you have, different, figures for females and males?
Based on the response only, we are making the frequency.
Okay. And somewhere you mentioned that, female respondents of PG departments are forthcoming to express, right? And you also said it is because of co-education. Now, I didn't understand that. What do you mean?
Feel the data is statistically we found that majority of the female respondents are PG courses.
Okay, but did you try to explore as to why? Because you somewhere said it's because they are studying in co-education.
Yes, actually.
So what? How does it correlate?
Actually, in our college, many courses are not co-education. Only few courses. All the courses are
I want to actually understand. So somebody studying in co-education, does that mean that female students are facing harassment from males? How do you correlate these two?
Actually, they are responding based on this, whether they are getting awareness or not. In that case, the women respondents are open up.
You mean say, I mean, those who are studying in non-collegiate, single-sex college, they are little withdrawn? No, I feel they should be, forthcoming more when compared to this.
That is another area we do, but our objective is
You're also talking about level of, the awareness. Some people are like, very aware. Some people are like, extremely aware. There was something wrong with that. Last year.
prevention.
Some institutions have
Some just for these, they are actively running the self. They actually take the line
Did you do any analysis to understand, cells in what type of institutions take more compliance, and therefore did you correlate that with this awareness level? Right. That is, and you conceptually define what is sexual harassment?
we are not in detail actually.
All right.
Harassment is how you
But one of the objectives was to find out like if they are facing harassment in online classes.
even we frame certain questions like more sensitive.
But that's not specified. I think in the
So later
data there was no data about.
Yeah, later we removed it. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to present my topic, Influence on OTT Platform on Theatre-Going Audience Post-COVID Era. And the regulatory framework of OTT platform basically says that OTT providers are service providers which offers information and communication technology services, but neither operates a network or leases a network from the network operators. So basic definition largely stands as any access via websites or personal computers or applications or mobile data or through smart TV platforms. The increase in the use of smartphone in India has stirred a new era on video consumptions in the personal media. There are around 432 million internet users currently in India, and low mobile data charges have further contributed to the rapid growth, around 4 to 8% today. India's OTT market has been rapidly growing from 2012. India is currently the world's fastest growing OTT platform, and it's set to emerge as the 6th largest OTT platform by 2024. The market is expected to grow at the rate of 28.6% over the next 4 years, with the revenue touching at 2.9 billion. With the advent of 5G and more over-the-top players in the field today, such as Amazon, Hotstar, Netflix, are considered as the competing mediums to films and theatre programs. This has resulted in a significant change the way content is consumed by the audience. Meanwhile, in theatre, India box office revenue will amount to 146.5 billion Indian rupees, and therefore it asserts as the theatre will still find its audience and OTT platform will redefine the alternate content for its viewers. Though the multiplex tend to have established itself, the total number of screens have reduced over the last decade. According to Forbes, the entire global theatre and home entertainment market is totaled around 80.8 billion and lowest figure since 2016, and its decline of 18% from 2019. The report also states that the revenue from the theatre declined from 42.3 billion to $12 billion in 2020, which heavily impacted the industry altogether. So these are the following factors that contributed to our objective of our study. We primarily wanted to see the impact of OTT on theatre-going audience, particularly among the youngsters from the age group of 15 to 35 years in Tamil Nadu. The following are the research questions. What are the factors leading to the growth of OTT platform? What are the influence of OTT platform over theatre-going audience? And what is the impact of theatre in the post-COVID era? The methodology that we used is descriptive methodology. Data was collected through the survey among the respondents from 15 to 33 in Tamil Nadu, and to analyze the characteristics of viewers and their viewing patterns of both OTT and film. The paper will try to understand why and how people actively seek out specific platforms like OTT and theatre to satisfy specific needs. The questionnaires were distributed in August 2022. There were around 460 respondents. The study employs quantitative methodology for collection and correlation of data, while interpretation is done through the descriptive methodology. The respondent demographics is divided into 15 to 20, 21 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 to 35. 70% of the respondents fall under 15 to 20 age group, while the next biggest category is 21 to 25. 77.5% of the respondents are male, 21.8 are female, and education qualification of the respondent includes 76.2% of undergraduates, 12.4 postgraduates and above, and 82.8% of the respondents are students, and 9.8 are salaried individuals. 4.4 of the respondents are self-employed and 3.1 are unemployed. The study largely focuses on the behavior of the theatre-going audience, hence the following data is vital for identifying the target. So these are the following questions that is addressed to the respondents. The film viewing frequency is largely stipulated to weekly, once in 2 weeks, monthly, and once in 2 months. The highest being monthly once on an average is 28%, 129 respondents. And the preference of the show time is evening is the highest show time preference, which is 196, 42.6% of the respondents. And theatre cost per person per show on an average highest is 300 rupees to 500, 41.7%, 192 respondents. And OTT subscription cost per month on an average highest is rupees 500 to 1000, 32.2%, 148 respondents in the second, the highest being below 500, 232, 50.4%. And when we asked that whether there is any effect on decision making to go to theatres with regard to the ticket pricing, 69.3% respondents said yes, and also asked about what are the various factors that affect and in choosing this medium. Again, the main factor is being new schemes in booking, which includes cost-effective and subscription methods, and also the second being the better technology. And one of the key questions is influence of film censorship in choosing OTT platform. Surprisingly, only 27.6% of the respondents said yes, and majority of the respondents said they don't prefer OTT platform over the theatre. And the content preference in OTT is largely series, web series, followed by films. 55.7% of the respondents said web series. And content preferences in the theater is largely being content-based material stories, and followed by superhero VFX animation, and then followed by star value shows. And when we did cross tabulation between the age groups and the medium of choice, when a content is simultaneously released in both the mediums, the preference is very clearly seen in the early age groups like 15 to 20, and as it grows, the content is equally distributed. Similarly, in comparison between OTT subscription and viewership, we can clearly see a difference in OTT subscription being comparatively less, like it's only marginally different. But when we compare to the viewership of OTT, we can see there is a clear difference, almost 3 to 4 times of what the OTT subscription is, which shows that most of the viewers who are actually viewing don't have a primary subscription, they have a secondary subscription over it. And to see the impact of the theater versus the choice of the medium, we can very clearly see that the choice is equally divided almost in terms of OTT and theater. But however, when we say whether the viewing habits is affected, they say yes, it is affected by the medium. So which also reinstates that there could be a possibility of having two completely different content genre for this particular medium. So this is the general tabulation, and finally, one thing what we wanted to see is there is a strong influence for OTT as a medium, but however, we can very clearly say that there is a new kind of content specifically emerging for OTT medium in comparison to theater as a film. Both film as a part of the OTT medium's content, we can very clearly see there is another other kinds of content specifically emerging for OTT medium. That's it. Thank you.
If you have any questions for the presenter, you can ask. No questions? Sir, any comments?
Yeah. Does it alarm you when you see that there are not many takers or many viewers for documentaries? That kind.
Sorry, sir. Documentaries.
Does that sort of alarm you?
Yes, sir. It's interesting to see that people still have probably it's mainly because of the segmented audience that we chose for the studies. So that could also be one of the reasons. Yeah.
You have a range of OTT platforms, like did you ask that or just?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We asked a specific question on. We also had an open-ended thing, but most of the preferences stuck to the popular OTT platforms like Netflix and Amazon Hotstar, and those are the primary OTT platforms that has been coming up. Yeah.
So you also say that subscription is very less.
Yeah, subscription is comparatively less.
Is it?
When viewership is more, sir.
Viewership is more.
Yeah.
And subscription is less among male, females, anything like that.
We didn't specifically tabulate that, sir. Probably
But
we
this
can see.
sample is from Chennai.
This is all over the Tamil Nadu, sir. We also asked a specific question with the students. We try to distribute it as much as possible.
But how did you reach out to all these students and what is the sampling?
Through online only, sir. Through segmented online, and one of the questions, yeah, sampling.
What sampling?
Random sampling only we chose.
Random.
Yeah, yes. Disproportionate random.
Random wouldn't work. So what do you mean by random?
In the sense,
Yeah.
no, we try to ensure as much as this category is concentrated, sir. But we also try to ensure the areas in which we try
So
to.
what is the sampling frame? Like were you selecting students from universities and colleges or?
We selected students from colleges particularly, sir, not in universities.
What in institutions?
Around 7 to 8 institutions, specific. Yeah.
Any specific cities or anything like that?
No, sir, we concentrated on the place of that colleges. So that is how we.
Yeah, because why I'm insisting on that is because this could be data of an urban population sometimes.
Yes. Yeah.
Provided you have a clear sampling.
Demographics of
Yeah, demographics as to. I don't know if you have included, for instance, the rural populace.
Yes, I think we have covered, sir, but we didn't equally distribute it to urban
So,
and rural.
yeah,
sir.
okay. Because you said Tamil Nadu, then that's what I want. Or, is it that you focused only on certain metros such as like Chennai, Coimbatore, Trichy, Madurai and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So, if you include, then probably you might have a different, so that might reveal a different data, which means this could become specific to a certain kind of a population.
Fine, sir. Okay.
So I don't want this. Yeah, it's a good study.
Okay.
I mean, you've gone about it, meticulously. But
Yes.
it need not be generalized to the entire population of Tamil Nadu.
Okay.
Because there could be populations which might actually reveal a different,
Okay.
data, right?
Sure, sir. We'll extend it to the.
And so you don't want to understand, the different viewership models that
Yes.
exist and how they watch all of this.
Yes, sir. Actually, this is a kind of an extended study, sir. I did a comparative study on OTT and television in 2021, and I also did a behavioral study on viewing patterns on OTT. So both the studies I did in 2021. So this is an extension study on OTT and theaters, and now I'm also doing a study on the laws pertaining to OTTs, the new regulations that is a separate study.
Somewhere you were also talking about the choice of content, that people want to watch both on OTT as well as on theaters.
Yes.
So you said something based on content. The star system is like the third.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm aware that this star system is changing.
Yes.
But if you are to give this data to either somebody who's into theatre productions or to OTT platforms, so what are the implications that you would like to highlight? Especially people, it's not completely, disappear, right? This
True.
star system,
Yes.
and there are quite a few stars who are still banking on that.
True, sir.
So that's very
were
interesting thing that
equally
it's going to go.
Yes.
We are, in another sense, conveying the fact that audiences are also receptive to
Yes.
diverse, content.
Yes.
That is quite interesting. It's not
Yeah.
that people are falling a prey only to a certain genre of content.
Yes.
So, there are some interesting findings that you might want to offer to OTT platforms. So,
Yeah.
what would that be in terms of certain implications that you want to highlight?
Okay, sir. I didn't get exactly.
If at all you want to tell the OTT content creators,
Okay.
based on the study, the data that you have on hand.
Okay, sir.
So, what would that?
For the-
would you
for the
want
OTTs,
the
sir.
OTT content creators to sort of reorient their strategies, to
Okay.
change their plans, because people are seen to be interested in certain content?
Okay.
So would you like to offer any suggestions to OTT content?
I think we need to study more focus on that particular area, sir. But yeah, definitely there is more scope for that kind of a study for it, sir. In future, we have to go
And
through.
also take into account, the kind of crossers.
Yes.
This is also, post-COVID has seen a lot of movies, talking only in terms of, being big crossers. Like,
Yes.
it's always like 100 crores.
Yeah, pan-India
200
films.
crores.
Yeah.
There is a discourse now, right?
Yes.
So, if you are producing a film,
Yeah.
you talk only in terms of
Money, economy.
money
Yeah.
that you are able to generate.
Yeah.
And alongside, you also have OTT platforms.
Yeah.
We might want to see OTT as a separate entity from theatre,
Yeah.
but at the same time, we also might take into account the fact that they are actually working together,
Okay.
hand in hand,
Yeah.
as far as from a business perspective.
True, sir. Yeah, true, sir. Yeah, that is the Statista's definition I quoted. So they basically say that it can coexist in nature because both have, as a core entity, both have different kind of audiences per se in its core. So definitely both can coexist. Is the one of the major things takeaway that I can tell for OTT people. So, yeah. Thank you, sir.
Our next presenter is J. Manoj Kumar. He's a postgraduate student from the Department of Electronic Media in St. Thomas College of Arts and Science. Before I go, I'd like to make an announcement. The members in the room, can you please keep your phone on silent? Thank you.
Good afternoon. My topic is on role on impact of background music in contemporary cinema among youngsters. Introduction. Music plays an important role in the socialization of children and adolescents. Music provides entertainment and distraction from problems and serves as a way to relieve tension and boredom. Some psychological studies report that teenagers use popular music to deal with loneliness and take control of their emotional state and or mood. Objective. Literature review using secondary data. Background music. Music plays an important role in cinema, theatre, and even television. It plays important role during scenes and background scores in dialogues. Indian music has evolved over times and background music in films. Only in Indian films we have one songs and musics, but in Hollywood films and all we have only actions in musics. So only Indian music plays a major role in songs and musics. Role of and background music. With the help of background music, it is possible to create music in conflict with the scenes, giving the audience a different perspective. This is often used in plots to have a twist. In cross-section movie, there will be a music in vital role. It will be played in several times in the music. Listening to that, the audience will feel a horror situation around themselves. So there is scope for thematic development, as seen it is possible to use a couple of musical themes and then develop them as a story progresses. You can depend the story on music itself. By thinking by background music, we can think what is the next plot is going to come at the scenes. Composers may use a variety of techniques to develop a musical theme, like increasing the size of orchestras, developing the medley of theme as the story progresses. Composers may use a variety of techniques to develop a musical theme, like increasing the size of orchestral, developing the medley of theme story progresses. Example: the Slumdog Millionaire, which won the National Award for Music in 2009. It was made by Mr. A.R. Rahman for the music. It has won the Oscar award. More than 50 to 60% has created for the music organization. Types of background music genres. Cinematic music. One music genre, cinematic music, comes to mind when words like large, sweeping, and trumpet come to mind. This the maximum level of power. Corporate music is a wonderful use of corporate music, since it is used for the product and whiteboard animation uses. Ambient music. Films with a story message, strong message, instructional videos, and non-profits attempting to highly an issue all benefits greatly from ambient music. Acoustic music. These days, acoustic music may be heard in various sports and in various sports of videos. Sorry, there is an error mistake. Various sports of videos. Editors appreciate that acoustic is a highly adaptable genre that can be used to create a broad range of video genres, while viewers can generally love their warm tones. Impact of music among youngsters. In order to understand significance of music in lives of adolescents, a survey of 2,760 American adolescents between age of 14 and 16 conducted in the early 1990s indicated that listen to music on average for 40 hours each week. They listen to music for up to 6.8 hours per day on average. Teenagers may easily access music by mobile phones, various recordings, the internet, and the new technology. Although that way the music is pre-centered influence how people react emotionally to it. There is also also true to the fact that age and experience are preconceived emotions that a listener brings to the music also plays a significant role in how they react. It has been discovered that the lyrics of some musical genres, including rock, heavy metal, rap, and new energetic genres like frequently reggaeton frequently refers to subjects like sexual proximity, morality, suicide, and drug abuse. My finding is, I have not mentioned my finding in this slide, sorry. My finding is more than that of American adolescent. Now small children also using that mobile in daily stages. After that COVID period, we are using mobiles regularly. Even those classes are also used by only online classes are also used by mobile phones only. But instead of using for good purpose, they are using for bad purpose also. The music also spoils the students' lives by hearing. They can feel horror music and heavy death metal music to addict some sexual harassment or having drugs injuries like that. Sir? Yeah, among youngsters, I was using my secondary data from books and all. Yeah, it's based on secondary data. Thank you.
Moving on to the next presenter, Mr. Broskan P. is a research scholar from the Department of Visual Communication in SRM Arts and Science College. On to Mr. Broskan.
Good afternoon all. I'm going my topic, a study of the visual and textual representation of caste and politics through the film Mandela. Introduction part. Cinema is an inevitable art form that can be bring people together even they are diverse in culture, religion, and caste. However, at the same time, the path of Indian cinema has changed a medium that speaks the pride of religion, caste, and race. Even criticizes also other religions and caste. Tamil cinema never forgot to question society and social structure, caste and politics. Caste and politics are deal with very sensitivity. It must be handled very carefully. They will go to fight for caste and reward for political party. Recently, the portrayal against some caste operations in a recent cinema debate. Stories are constructed or portrayed around the hero's caste system and associates. In the movie Mandela, which came out as a reflection of the common people, many factors that can create awareness or display as political satire. Like the heroes, comedians play the essential role in the successful flow of the film genre. Caste portrayal and description has been carried through comedians by comparing them with the animal and the comedians to agree with the kind of character structure and versus to take and it make the success of caste and political cinema. Example, MCRSN 23 application, LKJ, etc. The most important purpose of the study is to seek to explore the awareness, reflection in the society of the extreme political scene and comedy line of the movie Mandela. The next my objectives to understand the social inequality in the caste and power structures shown in the movie Mandela. And the purpose of the study explore the reflection on social awareness through symbol of political scene and analyze denotation, cantonization spoken through the movie of Mandela. My methodology is based qualitative method is used content analysis. It's a different way to analyze. First one is textual analysis and the second one is unit analysis. Analyze and interpretation. The storyline of Mandela in a small village, two political parties compete into the local election and are ready to win at any cost. In a twist of the fate, the single designing vote comes win for the small time warfare. It's first picture is the position of village can be known from the single image reflect the underdevelopment and a highly caste segregated village. The name of the two different areas in the village board, one Vadakur and Tekur, indicate the caste division. It is written in red and green colors to indicate the caste value and the particular village. Caste is seen as the basic casual factor for the state of the underdeveloped village and the disunity of the people. And the nameplate of the second one, it's last shot, and the film is a very polished and fresh and reflect the unit without the caste divisions. And that picture is explained for a caste practice. Explained for Mandela is the main character of the movie. Smile, nickname for Smile, is only allowed the back door when he is called come to work, not through the front door into any house. So that practice is a repeat. This activity is repeated. The characters mentally is prepared go through the back door only. So this is many activities are going on the present days also. And text and dialogue representation. It's a political advertising on wall has been a project for many years. Wall politics has staged all the biggest incident. Creating to that movie characters Ratnam, who is shown the leader of the particular group, they called Vadakur. In the film will be written on the wall. The important word is Kula Deivam. Kula Talaivane. It's a clan leader. This word refer to the god. So caste leader is the same time refer to the equal in god. And next picture in digital India. It's a second one picture is an important beginning of the film. This is a morning time. It's a frustrated by not finding the right place in the dark place. Sudale finding the place by shining a torchlight on his smartphone, saying, "Digital India is a right for this." Okay, that meaning for but the smartphone have reached them through digital India. Sarcastically speaking to the government as a typical Indian. Technology can be improved after focusing on the basic human needs. And the third one is they looked at Yogi Babu, the worker of, and discussed with other people whether he is a Tekur or Vadakur. And the one next to him says he is a public man. It is a noteworthy that he does not your own land. Okay. This passionate dialogue speaks volume about the mentality of the upper caste, dominant castes, especially the way treat Dalit and common property to be owned and preyed upon. Okay. The next picture is as a Parker Mandela as a nickname, smile and used in Surtatalayan. Arisivandi, the many names is used. That name is not only our identity but the identity of generations. A little girl shows Yogi Babu called Ilichavaya. Okay, it's a sign and image representation. It's Periyar Dasan's introduced the theme. That only man he is encouraged the decrease in the caste system, and this is the struggling with the own identity, get the own identity. The character will be create in Mandela and the same character of Yogi Babu. Also, this is the theme of this film. And next, the two picture is mentioned dress, and dress is the most important caste and political point. Just occupations in society there is a habit of specifying caste by profession. According to the Hindus scripture Varna system, they mention the caste and body systeming in mention that a profession. Okay. So finally, my conclusion that film is humor, extracting humor from serious issues like a caste, vote bank politics. Neither caste, name, nor political parties are explicitly mentioned. Everything is implied. That in a movie is explained in any information, background information, and any mention that a caste and political parties. So your decision is to draw their own conclusions. And village should stand up for one right man. It's a Yogi Babu. The film is a great example for a individual struggle against authority and victory. That's all. Thank you.
Very good paper. Nice work. So you have used denotation and connotation in the studies of, and the voter ID is missing. You can also include that. That is a good semiotic object, which can also be included. Politics of dress, politics of occupation. There are a lot of papers available. So in your literature review, that can be added. You can even take it sometimes beyond semiotics also, but this level it's good to see it from a semiotic perspective. You can also add what is known as materiality. There is something called materiality of body, materiality of past, in the context of it's a wonderful study.
Our next presenter is Ms. Shamita Rajesh. She is a research scholar from the Department of Visual Communication in SRM College. On to Ms. Shamita.
Good afternoon to everybody here. So my topic for today is content saturation in OTT platforms, an analysis on content availability and viewing behavior of audience. The media and entertainment industry is one of the fastest growing industries in India. It is expected to reach $30 billion by the year 2024. One of the fastest growing sectors in the media and entertainment industry is the digital media industry. The digital media industry sector has reached $5.2 billion in the year 2021, which shows a rise of 29%. The rise in usage of digital mediums showed change in consumption and viewing patterns of the audiences. OTT platforms are one of the fastest growing mediums in this industry. There are about 503 million users in India. The revenue from this industry is expected to reach 46 billion by the end of this year. OTT platforms, or otherwise known as over-the-top platforms, distribute media content through internet and can be accessed through any device. It is expected to have 627 million users by the end of this year. The increase in usage was observed due to the increase in usage of smartphones and broadband connections by previous researchers. There are several types, but apart from that, there is a new model that has been the reason for the growth of OTT platforms in India, which is the telco models. That is a model where telecom providers provide OTT subscriptions along with their telecom subscriptions. Previous research works have analyzed the factors contributing to the growth of OTT, and some of them are content, viewing behavior, convenience, features, quality, price, freedom, flexibility, comfort, and mobility. So the methodology for this research is a quantitative research design using the survey methodology. Questionnaire was used as a tool to collect the data. 100 samples were selected for the study using purposive sampling. Young adults between the age group 18 to 25 were selected for the study, as previous researchers have quoted that young audience are more inclined towards OTT. College students based in Chennai who are actively users of OTT platforms were selected for the study. The objectives of the study: to determine the availability of content, examine the viewing behavior, ascertain saturation in content. I will be discussing the data analysis along with the findings due to the time constraint, and I will be only discussing the majorities that have been observed in the results, again due to the time constraint. So the viewing behavior. So let's go for the first objective, and I am going to analyze the access. So 68% of the users have access to 3 platforms and more. The time spent on viewing, 39% of the users use OTT platforms for 0 to 2 hours and 38% used for 2 to 4 hours. The preferred time for usage is 78% during night and 55% during late night. The preferred device for viewing OTT content is mobile phones by 51% of the respondents. The internet source preferred is 84% by the audience. The content type viewed majority on OTT platforms are 89% movies and 88% series. How audience choose what to view on OTT platforms. 64% of the audience choose what to view based on the genres they like. And analyzing the most favorite genre, 85% have chosen crime and thriller to be their most favorite genre to view on OTT platform, followed by comedy and romance. The languages in which people choose to watch content is Tamil, but I assume that this was the result as this study was conducted in the city Chennai, and Tamil is the language that is majorly spoken here, so that was the reason for this. The second highly watched language is Malayalam by 49% of the audience and Hindi by 48% of the audience. The foreign languages the audience preferred to watch is 99% English, and the other languages frequently watched on OTT platforms are French, Italian, German, and Spanish. Moving to the second objective, content availability. 69% of the respondents have stated that the best content available, according to their observation, is on Netflix. Whereas when they were asked the question that which is their favorite platform, while asking which is their favorite platform, they had 60% had only stated Netflix. So this shows that 9% of people who believe their favorite platform to be something else still think that Netflix has the best content. So the factors that were the reason why these platforms are chosen as a favorite is quality of content, content availability, streaming quality, and the language and subtitle options that are available in the platform. Moving on to the next objective, content saturation. 60% of the respondents stated that they are able to follow and watch the content available on the OTT platforms, but the 21% who stated that they are not able to follow were asked the question why, and 16 of them had responded with the same word, no time. So the last question, we had asked them about the content, if the content availability is more than their viewing capacity, and 60% of the audiences accepted that the content available on OTT platforms is much more, and the reason they are not able to follow and watch it was time. The other reasons that were quoted by them was too much content available and too less time to view. Thank you.
Please explain what is content saturation, and is that what you point, or is it somebody has defined it?
Media saturation theory that says that if there is more additional content available, then audience feel a point of saturation. So for this particular research,
Theory is that?
Media saturation.
No, by whom?
I'm not sure.
All right. So, are there any repeat watching?
Repeat watching. No, sir, I didn't ask that.
Will that also lead to saturation?
Sorry?
You are talking about content saturation.
Yes, sir.
You are not talking about saturation one might feel.
No, sir, I'm asking them if they feel that there is too much content in their viewing capacity. So, I was just going for the small example that I would like to tell you. So, one spoon of sugar is enough for me for a cup of coffee, but if I'm adding 10 spoons of sugar, that means saturation. So, I was just asking the same point of view.
You find out, for that matter, like, whether anyone reaches that point of exhaustion.
50% of these audiences have said that there are too many creators, too much content to follow. I even got a response saying that I feel that there are more content creators than content viewers on YouTube. It was not relevant for the study, so I couldn't mention it, but our audience feels that there is such.
See, with respect to the genre selection, choice of genre,
Yes.
don't you think, personality types would be quite interesting, because there are people who might choose thrillers,
Yes.
because since you are doing a quantitative research,
Yes.
right? I'm not someone who does a lot of quantitative research.
Yes.
So if you are doing quantitative research, maybe if you correlate that with the personality type,
Yes.
so there are scales available.
Yes,
Don't you think that would?
yeah, definitely, because it does play a major role in identifying what you want to choose. So if I'm a very happy person, want to laugh all the time, I go for comedy. But it depends on the personality traits and what they want. Majorly, again, depending on the users and gratification theory. So according to their specific needs, they might want something else. They might want to gratify.
No. Okay. So users and gratification is fine. You want to say that we have the agency, sort of control over the selection of content, but at the same time, there is something called recommendation.
True. Yes, sir.
So I think if you're going to take into account recommendations, that is going to sort of debunk users and gratifications theory to some extent.
So I just use this for my analysis, sir. I didn't put it on the presentation because I was using it currently. So the highest was 64% based on genres, but secondly after that, suggestions and recommendation was the second reason for people to choose. 38% of the audiences said that they watched, somebody recommends. So if they say somebody else
Not somebody recommends. I'm saying recommendation system within Netflix, within the OTT.
Oh, that also I had analyzed suggestions that has been given by the platform. 31% have said that they choose what to view based on the suggestions given by the platform. Like what to view, more like suggestions.
All right.
Thank you.
Shamita, question.
Yes.
Is this a problem? Is saturation a problem for either the platform or the content creators or the viewer?
Ma'am, there's a heavy chance that people might miss what they want to view. So there are a lot of people who have, when I was choosing my research question, I had spoken to a lot of people, and a lot of them had said that I'm not able to track and view what to see. So there are chances that good content might get missed when there's a lot of content in a platform. So that's where this research even started, hoping to expand it and give an answer to your question.
Right. So similar to YouTube, right? There's an ocean of content where we only watch a small fraction of it based on suggestion.
Yes, ma'am. And definitely the audience also do feel a saturation. They're like, I'm missing my most favorite content because I don't know what's there. Second, I'm not able to follow, it gets lost. And every week there's just new things coming up, and then you're just lost with time, you don't know what to watch, and you end up not
Yeah, as a
watching
result, is there, do they feel pressure? Do they feel peer pressure? Do they feel,
Yes, ma'am, there is some peer pressure that is observed, because when some famous content gets released on OTT platforms and you do not have the time to view it, or you do not have the time to discuss it, then you feel a peer pressure from your audience that you're missing out on the important content. But the problem is too much for you to watch and you don't know what to watch at that point of time.
I understand the feeling, but I'm saying materially, I don't think saturation is really a problem because we've gotten used to it with internet.
I had read some articles that this particular audience group that I'm analyzing, that is this 18 to 25, they are young adults and they are partly part of the Gen Z consumers. So Gen Z consumers are very happy with a lot of options. It is a problem, but not to the majority of the audience. So that's why I was trying to say that I'm trying to ascertain if there is a content saturation. I'm not trying to prove there is a content saturation. Thank you, ma'am.
Sir, I completely think it's up to the viewers. So if a person wants option, it's good for them. But if they don't want the option, then it's bad. So we just have to see from the platform's point of view how they distribute the content on a weekly basis, or how much they are distributing. That's what we have to focus on. If they don't want people to miss out on the content they're watching, they want to watch. Like, there are some platforms, they want to release some content, they have to structure it in a way that everybody reaches that content. They're able to watch that content. It's just that perspective. Sir. Having options is something people like. Yes. Definitely, right. Not really, sir.
If I ask you, have you ever read a journal called Kardashian? You're not going to say yes.
Yes, yes.
Or if you ask me something, I'm not going to say yes.
And we don't feel like the FOMO on it.
That even, for that matter, it's Facebook. Or whatever you're going to access is not what I'm going to access.
Definitely, yes.
So in that context, so even if there are a lot of OTT platforms.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Maybe you are specifically talking about the OTT platform.
That are common here.
Is there something like, someone saying that, oh, I have missed?
Yes, sir. There are respondents who are saying that there is a lot of content that I like. Platforms are generating new content in regional languages, other foreign languages, but still that I am not able to watch it because there's just too much content and I have no time to view the amount of content that is released. So that again leads to a same problem. There is a FOMO in this generation, sir, based on like some previous researchers. This Gen Z has a problem of FOMO, which is the fear of missing out. Based on that, maybe yes.
Some level, this might lead to sort of creating the margins as facing some kind of lack or deficiency.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you have to switch arms to that extent.
No.
Sort of say that they have not watched, so this is some kind of lack of deficiency.
I know.
Viewers do not have to feel that. So,
Yes, I understand.
you have to be a bit cautious about,
How we like portray our answer, you mean?
approaching,
The topic?
yeah, so.
Sure, sir, I will keep in mind. Thank you, sir.
Moving on to our next presenter, Mr. Vijayaraj M. He's a research scholar from the Department of Visual Communication in SRM College. On to Mr. Vijayaraj.
Good afternoon to all. My research topic is understanding teenagers' favorite games and online literacy. introduction. The introduction has changed many things and daily activities and is reflected in the playing styles and children's and youth due to the development of technologies and increase of the internet, online connectivity and social media usage created the impact. Due to the urban development of apartment cultures, children are less likely to play outside and engaging the computers and mobile games. Also, the impact of COVID-19 lockdown has paralyzed of people of home. It has helped to the increasing the peer groups, combine the online games and virtual reality games through the way children feel connected their friends and build buddies just like it real time. Voice to technology and mod your young people engaged in online games. The next one is objectives. The purpose of the objective study was to find out which online games are most preferred by teenagers. The purpose of the study is to find out the reasons why teenagers play online games. The aim of the study was to find out the effect of online games on teenagers. Next one is review of literature. There are two literatures are coded. The first one is the particular study is an attempt to the understanding players, the perception and reasons for spending hours playing it. The articles also examine the factors responsible for the development, the impact of excessive gaming on the life and grammar to world. Funded this study, data has been collected from the important sample through the questionnaires, the popularity of the particular sport. It is extra realistic games experience the online games offered, which is very addictive. The second one is mentioned the school children, the aged 13 to 16 years old. The measure is the overall finding is 3% of people is addicted. Overall, which is about 1.51% among all children aged 13 to 16 years old of Netherlands. The next one is methodology. I use quantitative method survey questionnaires. The study being conducted among the SRM Institute of Science and Technology, Kadanguluttur campus, which is very close to the capital city of Tamil Nadu. The main reason for the choosing this campus is because of parents and students come here from the different religion of the country. The sample of the study was selected using purposive random sampling methods, where only those who played video games were considered. The study is quantitative survey method is approached. Data was collected using questionnaires. The focusing on the main objectives of the study and online questionnaires considered of both closed enter and open enter was constructed. The questionnaire was distributed online to the respondent by responding on Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp groups. The focused random sampling techniques used for the study contained the sample distribution more than 160 responsibility and data collection through the Google form. Discussion and analysis. The first overall more than 160 respondents selected, 72% of males and 28% of females. The first one is sample distribution regarding age. How you are aware of online games. The 33.7% of respondents get to know about the updates and new release of online games through the peer groups. Also, they mentioned they were aware of online games through their friends and most cases. Although more than 80 respondents or 50.6% of students mentioned that they get no regular updates about the online games through social media peer groups and other meme pages and official websites and game providers. This shows the social connectivity of these people through the online platform provided the needed of information for the online game users. Also, because of the online classes taken during the pandemic mode, the Gen Z people socially connected the every by the information. The results show the technology native they spend more times on social media for relief and the social connection parameters. The only 9% of respondents said they were aware of online games to new launches through the advertisement. Another 6% of respondents said they were aware of online games through the family members and some groups. The next one is the most preferred gender in online games. So the more than 32% of respondents prefer action games as their favorite. The 24% of respondents react to the adventure types of genders. Their preferred games playing online for the better audience experience. The more than 17% of respondents mention battle royale games, their favorite type. Nearly 14% of audience played the arcade games. Their free time and better engagement of peaceful experience. The another 13% of respondents said they prefer MMO games. MMO means massive multiplayer online role-playing games. Games because of better graphics and engaging factors. The next one is the purpose of playing online games. Clearly show the most respondent playing online games of entertainment purpose. Nearly 54% of respondents mentioned the use of online games for entertainment purpose and escape from the reality. 32% of respondents mentioned they were use online games for stress relief factors. Get out from the routine stress and engage the peer groups. Most of the respondents use online games and role-play multiplayer games. Nearly 10% of students said that use of online games and relief from the board time, which is cases of routine activities. Only 9 respondents mentioned those other parameters also respond for playing online games like regularly interested and curiosity offer provided from the gaming sites for the regular logins and complete the task. Another one, the graphic figures show the audience response related to the purpose of online gaming. So, did you learn any skills of through online games? So more than 80% of respondents mentioned could learn more social skills and literacy through the online games. Some of them mentioned their language was improved and learned a few new words through the online role-playing games. Respondents mentioned further that they learned to rule of gaming like the footballs and tennis and the sports and car, then etc. So also the views of because of online social games they make two friends. The different parts of because of only mutual interest playing games. The only 16% of respondents refused to never learn to new skills or social connectivity habit from the games. Last one, conclusion. The results of the study clearly show that all Gen Z students have access to digital technology even during the school times. For the online classes purpose, current students under the age groups 16 to 21 hold their personal headsets, laptop and systems which provide space and access opportunities for playing online games. Most of the focus group are addicted to the online games. They play different kinds of MMO games. More than 75% of respondents of the focus group agreed with they were addicted to online games and felt some mental, psychological, physical and impact their regular routines. Thank you.
Do you play games? Sometimes. Like how much? Like in a day? Every day you play? No. What are the games you play? Is there a game parlor in the area where you live? Sarah? Have you visited these game parlors? No, no. Game centers, like internet centers. You have a lot of game centers. Small shops are getting converted into some kind of game centers. So where are you coming from? No, I'm curious, right? It's not about the study, but I'm curious because do you have such game centers there, game parlors? Okay, do a field work, visit, and try to understand as to how people engage with these devices. What do they do? What games do they play? This data is not collected from Ramanathan, right? Okay. But when you do it in your place, you'll find interesting things. Right? Spend some time sitting there, watching people, do observations. There are a lot of interesting things that get cultural and other aspects. Yeah.
Our next presenter is Ms. Harini R. She's an assistant professor in the Department of Journalism in the MOP Vaishnav College for Women. On to Ms. Harini.
And to include Ms. Vidya Padmanabhan, who is also the co-author from MOP Vaishnav. Good afternoon, everyone. So our study is about the news coverage of crimes against women, a comparative study of, say, coverage of such crimes against women in national versus the regional newspapers. And just an intro about the topic as such. Recently, there was a headline on all, say, news platforms, including newspapers everywhere. The NCRB's report, which stated that there is an increase of crimes against women reported this year, which is 15.3% compared to the previous year. Some statistical data for you to understand the significance of this study. And as we went through the report, we thought, okay, we should study about how these crimes are reported by journalists in newspapers, especially because it's a very penetrative media which reaches even the rural population. And here we have segregated. We have segregated the crimes as stated by the IPC, Indian Penal Code, and there are some 13 crimes stated in our Indian Penal Code, and we have chosen the types of crimes as stated by the IPC for our study. And major objectives that we set for the study include, we wanted to know the types of crimes that's reported in newspapers, types of crimes against women, and also analyze the prominence of the placement of such news stories, which will also include analyzing the tone and the framing of such news stories related to crimes against women, and majorly to plot the types of news stories that's being covered by the newspaper or the print media as such. The major objective is for us to compare how it's been covered by a national news daily versus a regional news daily. And the methodology that we have taken up is a mixed methodology where we have taken up quantitative as well as qualitative method. The quantitative content analysis has been taken up by us with the creation of coding sheet, where the selected print media, as far as the national news daily is concerned, we have chosen the Hindu. In the regional we have chosen Dinatandi as the unit of study for us. Why? Because the Indian Readership Survey told us the top newspapers in South India is Hindu and Dinatandi. And we have taken a period, the period of study for us is 1 month, which is August, the whole month of August. And apart from the content analysis with coding sheet, we also use the qualitative method to study the framing technique, tone used, and as well as the language used by journalists in order to cover crimes against women. And these are our unit of analysis, starting with the types of news, placement of news, types of crimes, as I told you, as stated by our Indian Penal Code, tone of the story, source of information identified, because we thought that the sources are also quoted by the journalists in news stories, both in English as well as in Tamil. Identification of victim, because this is a very sensitive part of how journalists identify the victim, as such through name or through photograph, or how is it. And another major unit of analysis is the usage of language to find out is it being sensationally reported or objectively reported. How is it reported? We wanted to analyze. And lastly, and again a major thing that we wanted to find is what are the framing techniques used by the journalists. For that, we as researchers, we have put down we have operationally defined these frames, majorly progress, regress, justice, and critical. To give you just a one-liner about each, progress frame, we have defined it as the framing of a news story where a particular, say the perpetrator is being caught by the police or some legal actions being taken against the perpetrator. Regress, when no actions are taken up, when just the report has been published on the newspaper but no actions being reported in the news, we have considered those under the regress frame. Justice frame is when the perpetrator or the accused is given a verdict or is proven guilty in the court of law with some penalty as such. That comes as justice frame. Critical frame is an interesting frame that we try to create, where we wanted also to segregate news stories which commented about faulty administration, faulty police work, or inefficient justice system, or inefficiency of the government bodies.
These are the findings in the Tamil newspaper Dinatandi. We found that in the 1 month period, we found 58 news stories that dealt with violence against women. Some of them, very few of them were on the front page or back page, maximum visibility. Most of them were on the inside pages. Most reported crimes were sexual harassment and incidents of death, where the death of a woman was reported. On 7 days during the month, there were no stories at all on this theme. So we know that there are incidents going on every day. There was a huge news story that was happening during the month, which was the remission of the sentence of the convicts in the Bilkis Banu case, and there was no editorial or commentary on this, and there was only one news story on this during this period in Dinatandi. The tone, we found that most were written in a very objective, neutral tone, but there were 3 stories we found used derogatory language, which I'll mention in the next point. And one book we found was provocative in nature. For example, it used language like Vibachara Arikal, where it was referring to sex workers, Kalla Kadalan, where it was referring to an extramarital affair. There is other language like that. And in the case of the provocative language, which we quoted as provocative, we found that there was extensive reporting on the manner of the murder committed. So we found that was provocative in nature. In 88 stories, the victim was identified. You'll find this shocking, but in the case of sexual crime, not a sexual crime, I'll come to that. This was in the case of the young woman who was found dead in a school in Kalaburgi. She was identified by name during the period where her cause of death was actually under investigation by police, and the family and community was alleging that there may have been a sexual crime or that there may have been murder connected to a sexual crime. So during this period, to identify this person, even though there was the police first impression was it was suicide, in which case it is all right to, according to ethical guidelines, to mention the victim by name. During this period where it was not so able to mention the victim by name was shocking, we thought. And only one story on Bilkis Bano's case in the Tamil newspaper, and there was one international story and quick snapshot of our photo sheet. In the Hindu, on the other hand, there was the victim was not identified in any case of sexual harassment or sexual abuse. We found the tone was objective in every story, and there was no international news at all, and there was no editorial analysis or commentary. So very quickly, these are the conclusions we drew. The reporting standards, as you can see, were not uniformly upheld. There was use of non-standard language and references. I showed you a couple of examples. There was revelation of identity of the victim, not for cases that were charged as sexual crimes, but in the case where there was it was a grey area. Mental health, which is a very up and coming topic now, there was no coverage of it at all in any manner, and it can be a big factor in such cases, we know. There is a mention of the suicide helpline, which is important. It is there in the English language newspaper, but not in the Tamil newspaper. So the question arises, why cover this story at all, if there is no use to the community? So we think an important thing that should be done is have newsroom sensitivity training and a solution journalism kind of mindset. So training is called for across all newsrooms, irrespective of the region or the scope of operation of newspapers. These are our major conclusions. Just a mention of limitation, of course, very short period of study and only 2 newspapers taken into consideration. But with more, if we extend the study, I think we'll find more interesting insights. We don't want to draw any hard and fast conclusions based on this, but we think definitely we can all improve, so sensitivity training definitely works. Thank you.
Good one, and the choice of Tinatandi, is it because its circulation is high in
South India. In
South India?
Tinatandi tops.
So you want
Leadership survey, not just the circulation. The leadership survey told us Tinatandi is the top.
okay, so this is like so. What about Hindu?
Hindu in the English, South India,
Okay, it has the highest circulation, not leadership, you're saying. But you must be having a very clear idea that Tinatandi is known for its sensationalist reporting. So you possibly cannot actually expect some good reporting out of it. And the second is, did you try to find out the number of women journalists in both the newsrooms?
Yes, our unit of analysis, we first fixed the gender of the journalists who report on these crimes against women. But apparently in Tamil newspapers there is no byline at all, not even one byline. English, apparently a few bylines were mentioned, but it was mentioned as staff correspondent, reporter, like that. So we had to pull it off from our say unit of analysis.
You can build on this,
Yes.
probably you can try to find if they have a staff composition list,
Correct.
that is available, because I guess to take it further, you need to connect this with diversity in newsrooms, because that's a major problem I think you're confronting. So if at all you want to change these frames, that could be something towards kind of an action-oriented stuff. It's good that you have. So you derive these frames, and these are all derived from data, or you derived it a priori, before.
Prior of before coming up with a coding sheet, in order to analyze the framing technique, we didn't know how to start. So when we did some literature reviews, we happened happened to find, say, some 2 to 3 reviews which made us to come to that conclusion. Of course, there were other frames, other researchers had taken up, like human interest frame,
human like this.
sympathetic frame and all that. But we thought, okay, for our topic, these 4 frames would be enough.
Sort of addresses. It's also sometimes important, to derive frames from the data. So keep it open. Otherwise, you will be tempted to push this into one of the frames that you've already created. So it's a good work. Keep it up.
So our next presenter is Ms. Subirthana MS. She is an assistant professor in the Department of Economics and Public Policy. She is also a postgraduate from the program of Public Policy in the MOP Vaishnav College for Women. On to Ms. Subirthana.
Good afternoon, everybody. The topic I have chosen today is the role of social media in disaster management. So I have done a case study of Kerala floods of 2018. So what is disaster management? So the process of deterring a disaster or trying to mellow down the effect of a disaster is what is disaster management. So this paper will be analyzing the role of social media and especially the role of social media in Kerala floods. So when we talk about disaster management, it can be categorized into 4 different stages. So first is your mitigation stage, where this particular stage is basically reducing or lessening the effect of the disaster. The second is your preparedness, how prepared you are to face that disaster. Second is response and recovery. So this paper will focus on the response and recovery stage, because this is where social media actually has a very, very important role to play. So role of social media. So in the past decade or the past few years, social media has taken a very, very important role in the society. It has taken a center stage. We use social media on a day-to-day basis and for all kinds of works. We use it for business. We use it for communication. The social media has actually taken a very, very important role. So the UN, the United Nations also suggested that we can use an alternate communication system in times of disasters, which will be helpful in the response and recovery stage of a disaster. The main reason for why United Nations recommended this is because during a disaster, when the disaster is happening, the communication system that is already existing might get cut off, or there could be disruption in the flow of information. So the United Nations suggested that there should be a strengthened emergency communication system for disaster risk reduction. So the role of social media can be categorized as mass communication, swift response, connectivity, or organizational capacity. So mass communication, you can use social media to reach a lot of people in a very short period of time. Next is swift response. You can get immediate response through social media than through any other mode of communication. Next is connectivity. You are connecting to another person or a group of people in a very short span of time. And the fourth one is organizational capacity. Social media can also help in setting up a group or an organization in working towards one particular agenda, or to come together for one particular purpose. So these are the areas in which social media can actually work with respect to disaster management. So we will move on to Kerala floods of 2018. So I have categorized it as why, how, and what next. So when you talk about why I have chosen Kerala floods of 2018 is because social media actually played a very important role in Kerala floods and was successful to a greater extent. And the next important thing is another aspect of that we have to focus on Kerala floods. Why it has to be taken as a special case is the geographical features of Kerala. Unlike other places, Kerala has a very mountainous terrain, which actually played a very crucial role in how the floods affected the state as a whole. So what happened in Kerala is because of the geographical features, the floods did not only, there was no standing water, but also it caused a lot of other disasters like landslides, and which led to a lot of loss of life and disruption in connectivity. So how did Kerala floods, how social media played a very important role in Kerala floods? The most important aspect of Kerala floods is that not only social media played a very important role, but the government also helped the sources through social media and took the help of the people who are working through social media and for the use of rescuing and response mechanism. So these are the various schemes and projects that were introduced during the Kerala floods of 2018. So Project Lifeboat was basically a project that started during the floods in the initial period itself, where a lot of IT professionals and disaster risk management analysts, they started this Project Lifeboat, where they collected data on where are the areas, which are the areas that are affected by the floods to a greater extent, and they gave it to the government, hoping that the government will be able to resolve it. But however, towards the middle, towards August, the floods became, it reached higher magnitude. The disaster reached higher magnitude. So what this Project Lifeboat did is, through this project itself, they started, taking volunteers into their project, and these people also, with the help of the lifeboats, they started rescuing and helping with the recovery, process. Next was Kerala Floods 2018. This was a Facebook page that was started with the help of the Kerala government itself. What was the purpose of using this Kerala Floods 2018 Facebook page is that you can streamline the data and the flow of messages. Instead of having it scattered across the social media, this page was solely maintained for the purpose of sharing data on Kerala floods, on where recovery is needed, where response system has to be sent, volunteering has to be sent, and also with respect to spreading of fake news, and it also helped in panic, a lot of panic that happens during disasters. Next was Compassionate Kerala. This was a project that was again started during the Kerala floods 2018, which basically helped with supply of necessary things, needs and necessary things required for rehabilitation of the people during Kerala floods. These people, after they brought to the relief camps, this Compassionate Kerala was project that helped in supplying the necessary needs and goods that are required for the relief process. Next is Kerala Rescue Toolkit. This again was started. This was a website that was responsible for issuing data on where rescue has to be done, and also this website started taking in volunteers to directly access the data and go directly and rescue the people who are affected by the floods. Last was Good News Sticker. The most important thing about Kerala floods is that the news channels also played a very important role in mitigating the disaster in a greater extent. This Good News Sticker, because during a disaster, panic happens a lot. You are prone to a lot of fake news. You are faced with a lot of news that causes panic. So this Good News Sticker was initiated by a news channel and was adopted by multiple news channels, where they will focus on newses where rescue is happening successfully and people are given rehabilitation successfully, which with the help of the government, so that the panic is lessened to a greater extent. Okay, So this good news sticker also helped in projecting the government in a better way. No government wants to put the people in greater risk. So this good news sticker was helpful in keeping the people calm when the government was trying to help the people during the disaster. So these are the major projects that were initiated. And what next? What has to be done is that these kind of projects should not be stopped. Most of these projects in Kerala are still, under the purview of the government and are still functioning. And whenever there are smaller disasters happening, these projects work to a greater extent. So the suggestion would be that every government, just like the United Nations has suggested, should have an alternate communication system which will work extensively during disaster management. But the most important aspect should be that they should be monitored and controlled by the government. So there should be a proper framework of policy which will help in maintaining these projects, these kind of schemes without being misused to a greater extent. But they have been proven to be successful in mitigating disaster management, especially in the rescue and recovery stage. Thank you.
Our next presenter is Mr. Gautam Krishna PKR. He is a research scholar from the Department of Media Science, Anna University. Over to Mr. Gautam Krishna.
Good afternoon to all. My research topic is about a study on the acceptance of e-learning technology by youngsters. So, to introduce this, so you can see that the internet has been evolved like in 2000. You can see that 361 million people were using internet. In 2022, you can see that 4.9 billion users were using internet. And if you take in India, there were 658 million people who were using internet. So this COVID has been increased our dependency on internet. So we all use e-commerce for shopping. We book our tickets in online. Everything has been changed in internet. So also changed in terms of internet. So before COVID, we were using some universities were offering MOOC and SWAYAM kind of learning programs. And during pandemic, you can see that we were delivering our course contents through video conference softwares and various technological applications. So now after lockdown, all the universities have been came to a normal stage. The university, but still various universities are using like blended kind of technology. Like even where conferences are happening like that, right? Traditional kind of learning and online kind of learning. So our objective is to propose and test a model for e-learning acceptance to understand the factors determining the acceptance of e-learning. So the theoretical framework we adopted for this study is the UTAID model. So UTAID means Unified Theory of Acceptance and Use of Technology. So this theory is proposed by Venkatesh et al. In 2003. So you can see this theory is an integration of four theories like theory of reasoned action, theory of planned behavior, technology acceptance, STAM, and TAM2, and innovation diffusion theory. So with these theories, the ADAD model is constructed. The constructs of these theory are performance expectancy, effort expectancy, social influence, facilitating condition. Further, with these constructs, we have added a new construct called online social comfort. So I'll explain each construct. So the performance expectancy means the individual believes that he or she performs would enhance by using the particular technology. Effort expectancy refers to the degree for ease associated with the use of technology. Social influence means the degree to which the individual technology usage is affected by the influence. Facilitating conditions means the extent to which an individual believes that an organizational and technical infrastructure exists to support of the technology. So, then the social and online social comfort. So this means users have to feel comfortable interacting with the technology. So these are the constructs. So research model. The instrument used for the data collection is structured questionnaire. So we collected all the data using online survey through Google Form. So the questionnaire is divided into two sections. So first section is about the demographic information, and the next section is about the model construct. So all the research model is the hypothesis you can see in this figure. So the performance expectancy relation with the behavioral intention. That's the first hypothesis. The second one is effort expectancy with the behavioral intention. Then the social influence with the behavioral intention. Then the facilitating condition with the used behavior. Then the social online social comfort with behavioral intention. So this is our hypothesis. So this hypothesis is formed using the theoretical framework, the UTA theorem. For analysis, we used PLSM. So this is the validity and reliability results. So you can see that all the results for the validity and the reliability gave a positive result. So you can see that the value of the Cronbach's alpha and the composite reliability has a greater than the suggested value like 0.7, and AVE value has been showed a positive result, and the discriminant validity also showed a positive result. So the R-square value of the user intention is 0.59, and the user behavior is 0.74. So this is the structure model. So you can see that excluding performance expectancy and effort expectancy all showed a positive results. So this is the path coefficient results. So from this result we can be able to understand that the performance expectancy is not affecting the intention for the adoption of e-learning. So this shows that the students are not finding any improvement in their performance by using e-learning. So an effort expectancy is not influencing the intention for adoption of e-learning. Since the technology is in developing stage, students not able to find e-learning as a user-friendly technology, and the interaction with the technology is not clear. Social influence is determining, so the social influence is determining the user intention for adoption of e-learning technology. So you can see all our teachers and friends, our seniors are influence our intention to adopt your e-learning technology. Then facilitating conditions. So facilitating conditions affects the intention of acceptance of e-learning. The students have the necessary devices to use e-learning. Like if you see, our results show that 86% of the students are using e-learning through smartphones. Online social comfort. So this online social comfort showed a positive effect on the acceptance of e-learning. So the students feel comfortable interacting with the students and rise doubts. So the behavioral intention has a positive impact on the students of e-learning. So the findings suggest that improvement in student performance and expectancy can be achieved by continuous encouragement, enhancement with the high level of usability and ease. So yeah. So the limitation of the studies, we did this research study in Chennai only. So this is the limitation, and we used a less construct. So the further research study could be made with various other construct for finding various other technology. Yeah. Thank you.
Ultimately, what are you suggesting to the government? We adopt?
You are trying to see that these are the things students are they feel this kind of pressure. So this is like what the students feel about e-learning. So from this study, the government can able to understand what they are lacking and what we are lacking, what technology, what terms of technology we have to improve, and that kind of.
So, when you mentioned facilitating condition, for instance, so when most of us were conducting classes online, right, at least for about 2 years or so.
Yes.
So one of the problems that I face with some of the students, they would say that they are living in a single room hut or house or whatever, right? And as a result, they were not able to join because of the space concern. Where is that factored in your study?
Small place means I'm not getting what it.
Okay. It's only one room, that's the house, right?
Okay.
So mother might be standing there and cooking,
Okay.
or father might be sitting there,
Okay.
or siblings might be sitting there. So it's not possible to join. So this is one of the constraints many face. So when you said facilitating conditions, did you include this as part of this?
Yes, sir. Actually, we added online social comfort. That construct is more or less related to the question you raised, sir. Like online, if I'm feeling comfortable using that software. So if you take any technology,
Is that a scale? Online social comfort?
yes, sir. It's a construct we added.
No. Is there a scale already developed or you
Yes, sir.
developed?
It's in. I took from another model and I introduced it in this. So it's like if you take any kind of technology, a comfort level is very important, right? So we added that construct to in terms of finding the acceptance of e-learning.
Yeah, so that is one of the comments. When we study technology, technology cannot be studied in isolation. I think, the social, cultural, economic context should also be factored in. So such questions are required. So that might otherwise, get missed. If that is not factored in, then the kind of data that we produce might be sometimes missed. Okay. You can, so some of them have presented mixed methods and stuff like that. So you can do a mixed method, probably do a qualitative work also.
So
Combine, and that will be better.
could you please give me any ideas? I'm not, how
I'm
to
saying is,
execute this.
this model, for instance, like, TAM, right, UTAT model, which focuses only on the affordances or the features of technologies. It probably might not take into account certain social, cultural, and economic factors that the user might face. There is no scope for that in this. So if you want to understand adoption of e-learning, I guess that should also be examined. That's what I feel. Right? And this is e-learning with respect to MOOC and SWAYAM.
No, sir. Generally about the now conference, video conference software, no, sir. That kind of learning technology.
Or online classrooms.
Yes, sir.
So synchronous, live, real-time classes.
No, sir. Like
Recorded or real-time?
It could be anything, sir. Right, like generally we nowadays we are using like the Google Meet and all, like that kind of. Uh, Our final presenter for the day is Mr. E. Manikandan. He's a postgraduate student from the Department of Electronic Media from St. Thomas College of Arts and Sciences. Over to Mr. Manikandan.
So good afternoon everybody. My topic is a study on effective promotional strategies in new media for digital natives. So introduction, let's see. The new media is the changing way we communicate. The ways of promotion have changed as well. There are many promotional strategies that work for digital natives, but the most effective one is to engage with them on social media. So new media, we can relate it to social media. So in coming slides, we can see that marketing in the new media is very different from traditional marketing. Digital marketing is a subset of marketing that uses digital technologies to promote products, services, and brands. Digital marketing has been around for decades, but it has changed drastically with the introduction of social media and mobile devices. Digital natives are more likely to buy something if they know people they trust to recommend it. They also like brands that show transparent by telling their story and sharing their values and goals. So objective is to analyze the effective promotional strategies. I have used literature review method using secondary data. So let's see what is new media. The term new media is not always used to describe one particular kind of communication. A traditional printed newspaper might be considered old media in the sense that it is a type of new media such an online newspaper. When you take into account that the definition is always changing as technology develops, it becomes much more challenging to describe. Any form of media that is distributed digitally qualifies as a new media, including blogs, podcasts, music, and newspaper articles. It also evolves continuously. What is deemed fresh keeps evolving as a new technology is created and generally embraced. So let's see about digital natives. The millennial generation and the generations to follow are currently considered to be digital natives. These generations are now extremely accustomed to and proficient in the use of technology because of their digital literacy. Due to the familiarity of digital natives, social media has developed into a significant marketing channel. Building great brand recognition requires a solid social media strategy. Let's see about digital immigrants. Digital immigrants are those who were not introduced to digital technology at a younger age, yet are adapted using more recent ones. In general, generations that were born before millennials are known as digital immigrants, since they are easy at using and adjusting to new digital platforms and don't have any reservation about using them. The promotional strategies, the relevance of digital marketing is only increasing. The amount of time spent online is rising, and the marketing spend is increasingly going into digital advertising. Investing in your strategy is one of the finest way to boost your digital return on investment. It might be a business or a college institution, so we need promotional strategies using the social media. A clear defined strategy reduces waste, increases task focuses, and expands on what is currently produced. A digital marketing strategy is a plan outlining how your business will use online channels like social media and search to accomplish its marketing goals. Creating a digital marketing strategy is essential. Without using internet marketing strategies, your company has a roadmap of achieving its objectives, crucial results, and goals. The first point in promotional strategies. Let's see something about like 4 to 5 points in promotional strategies. The first one is creating a buyer personas. Regardless of whether you're using a digital or a traditional marketing strategy, knowing your target demographic is crucial. The digital marketing strategies are built on throughout the buyer personas. Therefore, creating them should be a first move. It is possible to create buyer personas which represent your ideal customers by researching, asking questions to, and conversing with your company's target market. It is important to stress that this information should, whenever possible, be based on actual data, as making assumptions about your audience could cause your marketing strategy to be out of sync. Your research pool should include a range of clients, prospects, and people who don't already appear in a context database but who meet your target market to get a whole picture of who you are. But what kind of information should you get about your buyer personas to guide or your digital marketing strategy? So that depends on your industry. So next is digital marketing tools. So to do this, we have a lot of tools. But let's see what the goals of the tools. The main goal of your company should always be linked to your marketing goals. For instance, if your business aims to improve online sales by 20%, your marketing team's goal might be boost website leads by 50% compared to the prior year order in order to assist in achieving that goal. Whatever your overachieving digital marketing goal is, you must be able to monitor the effectiveness of your strategy as you go into using the necessary digital marketing tools. Analyzing digital resources. When examining your present digital marketing channels and resources to determine what to include in your strategy, start by keeping the larger picture in mind. You won't experience confusion or feel overloaded if you do this. Collect your resources and classify each asset in a spreadsheet or that you have a clear knowledge. So let's see about titles only. There are types of digital marketing methods we can use. Like the first one is search engine optimization. The next one is a pay-per-click method. So these are the kind of strategies. Social media marketing and content marketing, and the final one is email marketing. And my findings is, compared to traditional marketing, with the right promotional strategy, digital marketing helps in international marketing campaign can be easily, which means the reach achieved is great. While international reach is a serious advantage of digital marketing, it helps in increasing local visibility with local targeted ads and bringing customers. It is cost effective and allows even small companies to compare with large companies with an excellent strategy. Digital marketing extracts data from targeted audiences that will work perfectly for you, and campaign can be created with them. The key benefit of digital marketing is increased engagement. It is intentionally made for be very engaging. So finally, with the help of digital marketing, the result can be measured in real time. This aids in future campaign optimization and expedient error correction. Thank you.
That concludes our panel. Now I request our HOD and the chairperson for the day, Dr. Honey, to present certificates to the presenters. First up, we have Mr. J. Manoj Kumar from St. Thomas College of Arts and Science. Next, we have Mr. Roskan P. from SRM College. Next, Ms. Shamita Rajesh from SRM Institute. Mr. Vijayaraj M. from SRM Institute of Technology. Ms. Harini R. from MOP Vaishnav College. Ms. Vidya Padmanabhan, also from MOP Vaishnav College. Ms. Subhintana MS from MOP Vaishnav College. Mr. Gautam Krishna PKR from Anna University. Mr. E. Manigandan from St. Thomas College of Arts and Science. Now I request Mr. Hanif sir to say a few words about the presentation.
Good afternoon. It was wonderful listening to all the presentations. Good. Some of the papers are highly critical of the ecosystem. Some of the papers have attempted to trace and capture the present trends in terms of what kind of impact OTT platforms are having on audiences. So yeah, I mean, we can always build on these papers, and some of them are teachers who I have met before, and some of them are scholars, and it's good to know that you have chosen some interesting areas to work on. So when we are doing research, essentially we also have a certain ethical position, right? We take an ethical position. We know that there is a certain knowledge that is to be produced, but